Hello and welcome to a quick tutorial of QOCRide, a decentralized app that helps you to simplify the process of a QOC analysis. First, I will explain what a QOC analysis is. Q stands for a question that you ask. This question can go from which candidate will be hired for the job to which car should we buy, or even to entrepreneurial questions like which strategic field should we specialize in the next years. The O stands for the options. They represent the answers to the question. The C stands for criteria. They stand for different features or characteristics that need to be evaluated to decide the question. After defining the question, the options and the criteria, the options are evaluated in view of the criteria, and the option that fits the criteria best is the alternative to go for, in other words, the answer to the question. Having all that said, let's get started with the QOC analysis by asking a new question. For this, you need a question name, a question description, and by clicking Add Addresses, you can add addresses that are later on allowed to work on the question. In this case, our question name is holiday destination. The description is which holiday destination should the family choose next year. The addresses should, in this case, be the members of the family. Now you can click Ask Question and the question will be initialized. In the Waves Keeper, you have to approve the corresponding transactions to store the information on the blockchain. Now, as you can see, a question address is generated. It is a very important address that you need to save and distribute to the other participants of the question, because to do every further step of the analysis, you need to insert this address. Now, in the next step, by clicking Add Addresses, we can add some other addresses that should be allowed to work on the question. By entering our question address right here and pressing Add Address, you get this field where you can add another address that should be granted access to the question. By clicking the red button right next to it, you can also delete the address. After inserting the address, you can press Store Addresses. You also need to approve the transactions, and after that, the addresses will be stored successfully. After defining all this information for the question, let's go on and add some options. As you can see right here, the first thing you need to do to add some options is to enter the question address. After that, you can press Add Option, and you can see you need a name for the option and a quick description. You can add as many options as you want, and you can also delete an option by pressing the red button right next to it. For the question of the holiday destination, I added some places to go, for example Iceland, Italy, or to Hawaii. After that, you can store the options by clicking this button. Again, you need to accept the transactions, and the options should be stored. After that, you can do the same thing to add criteria. All the other participants of the question should do the same, so that you have enough options and criteria that you can consolidate in the next step. The consolidation should be done either alone, in our example this could be the father or the mother, or by all participants together. This could be done in a meeting, for example via Skype, or in person. To consolidate options and criteria, just click Consolidation in the menu and pick which one you want to consolidate. Now you have to enter your question address again, and the list of all options that you added or the other participants added will appear. Now you can decide which option you want to keep or which one you want to delete or to edit. You can even add an option by clicking this button. As you can see, we have Italy 2 times in our list because maybe 2 members of the family added it. So we can just delete one by clicking this button. Now we can just click Store Consolidated Options to store the options that we consolidated. And again, we have to accept the transactions corresponding, and the options are consolidated. Now you can do the same for the criteria. After that, we can evaluate the options and the criteria by clicking the buttons right here. After the consolidation of the options and the criteria, every participant of the question needs to evaluate the options and the criteria. You can do this right here. And first you have to add or enter the question address again. And now all the criteria that were consolidated appear in a list. Here's a slider that goes from 1 to 100. And now every user can decide how important the criterion is. 0 stands for not important at all, and 100 stands for it's very important. After doing this, you can store the evaluations by pressing the button. You have to accept the transactions again, and now the criteria are evaluated. To do the same for the options, you have to click Validate Options and enter your question address again. Now you have a table that shows the criteria and every option that you added. Now you can decide for each option how well the criterion fits it. For example, you can say Iceland is a very expensive place to go, so you say it isn't very affordable. The weather, if you like cold weather, is pretty good, but if you want to have a sunny vacation, it is not very good, so you can just say 0. The activities there are very good because you can have trips and see a lot of beautiful nature. So let's say we can put the slider right here. Now you do this for every option. After doing this for every option, you can just press Store Evaluations and accept the transactions again. And now the options are evaluated. After every participant of the question evaluated the options and the criteria, you can show the results or take a look at them by pressing Show Results in the menu. You need to enter your question address again, and now the results will appear. Right here you can see the number of participants. In this case they were 3, for example the parents and a child. The mentioned options versus consolidated options are shown here, as well as the criteria. We mentioned 4 options, but consolidated just 3 of them, as well as the criteria. Next to it, you can see a graph that shows the question, the different options, and the criteria. Every option has a score based on the evaluations. The preferred option is highlighted, so you can see Italy is the best alternative to go for. And every criterion has the average importance on it, and the arrows state the average compliance of an option regarding a criteria. In the table below, the first one, you can see the listed criteria with the average importance right next to them given by the participants. SD stands for standard deviation, which shows how much the participants agreed with each other on the importance of every criterion. The lower the value of the standard deviation is, the higher is the consensus of the participants. In the second table, you can see the evaluations of the options. For example, Iceland and costs has an average compliance of 13. And again, you can see the standard deviation for the consensus of the participants. In the third table, you can see all scores of the options. You can sort them so you can see that Italy has the highest score. Last but not least, you can search for certain keywords throughout other questions that you are a participant of. By searching for example, we can see the question where example is in the description. You can also see who the owner of the question is and what is the address of the question. So thanks for your attention, and now you can try it yourself.